Congratulations, you matched. 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, thousands of hours of studying, the MCAT, the applications, the interviews, the wait list that nearly broke you, the letter that finally didn't. Your parents are crying, your med school friends are hugging in a hallway somewhere, your college roommate, who went into consulting 4 years ago, just texted. So proud of you. He made $340,000 last year. You are $294,000 in debt. And you are exactly where you planned to be. The debt feels abstract right now, a number on a screen. You don't think about the fact that it's growing at $1,400 a month in interest alone, $46 a day, $1.90 an hour, every hour, including this one, including the ones where you sleep. But you're going to be a doctor. So you don't think about that. You think about white coats and stethoscopes and attendings who trust you and patients who need you. You think about the version of this you imagined at 17 when you decided this was what you wanted to do with your life. You do not think about the next 3 years. Orientation is a Monday in late June. You are handed a badge and a pager. The pager is beige. It looks like something from 1987. You ask if there's an app for it. There is not an app for it. The program director welcomes the new intern class. There are 22 of you. You all look the same, slightly terrified, wearing new shoes, smiling too wide. He tells you that the average resident works 60 to 80 hours a week. He says it the way someone mentions weather. Then he tells you your salary. $63,400 a year. You do the math in the elevator. That's $5,283 a month before taxes. After taxes, closer to $3,900. You think about your loans. Then you stop thinking about your loans because the elevator opens and someone is paging you, and it's only 9:15 in the morning and you are already behind. You live in a one-bedroom apartment 12 minutes from the hospital. The building has a broken elevator and a parking lot with a crack running through it like a fault line. Rent is $1,650. After rent, after taxes, after your loan minimum payment of $820 a month, you have $1,430 left. That's for food, transportation, your phone, your internet, your medical licensing fees, your board exam fees, the cost of continuing education that is required of you, and anything else you need to remain a functioning human being. There is no category in your budget called fun. There is no budget. You eat a lot of hospital cafeteria food. It is not good. You eat it anyway because it's there and you're tired, and the alternative is cooking at 11 at night, which sounds like a punishment. The hours are not a rumor. Your alarm is 5 in the morning. Rounds start at 6. If you have surgeries, you're in by 5:30. Post-call days, you've been there 28 hours straight, and the attending wants to do teaching rounds, and you are standing in the hallway trying to remember your own name. The 80-hour workweek limit exists on paper. On paper, it is strictly enforced. Off paper, nobody counts the time you spend reading charts from home at midnight. Nobody counts the hours you spend in your car in the parking structure, reviewing a patient's history before a procedure. Nobody counts what it takes to not be the intern who almost kills someone. You count, but you don't report it, because reporting it means explaining it, and explaining it means a conversation, and a conversation means time you don't have. There is a parking lot at the hospital. On the resident side, there are 12-year-old Corollas, a Civic with a broken taillight, a Subaru with an "I owe $38,000" joke written in the dust on the rear window. Somebody actually wrote that. On the attending side, there is a white BMW, 2 Audis, a Tesla, and a Land Rover that costs more than you will make this year. You see this every morning. You notice it. You file it away. In 8 to 12 years, after residency, after fellowship if you need one, after you've paid your dues in the truest sense of the word, your salary will be somewhere between $220,000 and $350,000, depending on your specialty. Some surgical subspecialties, $500,000, anesthesia, $400,000, primary care, $220,000 if you're lucky and you chose a good market. That is the number they showed you in the brochure. The brochure did not show you the interest that will have accumulated by then. Here is what the brochure also didn't show you. At $63,400 a year, working 70 hours a week, your effective hourly rate is $17.38. The barista at the coffee shop near your apartment makes $18 an hour and goes home at 4 in the afternoon. You are not bitter about this. You chose it, but you notice it. Somewhere around month 4, you have a patient. She's 71, came in through the emergency room at 2 in the morning with chest pain that turned out to be nothing cardiac. But while you're running the workup, you find something else, something nobody was looking for. Small, early, the kind of finding that, if you catch it now, changes the outcome completely. You catch it. You sit with her for 17 minutes at 3 in the morning, explaining what you found and what it means and what happens next. She holds your hand. She calls you doctor. She says it like it's a title she's been waiting to use on someone who deserved it. You leave her room and stand in the hallway for a moment. Then your pager goes off. Then it goes off again. You go. Your friends from college are getting married, buying houses, going on vacations you see on the internet, from the hospital lounge at midnight. You went to 2 weddings last year. You left both early for a call shift. You apologized at both. Nobody was angry. Everyone understood. Everyone said you were doing something important. Important is not the same as present. Your college roommate had a kid. You found out 3 days after it happened because you missed the message. He said don't worry about it. You don't worry about it, but you think about it sometimes at 1 in the morning when the ward is quiet and you're charting, and the fluorescent light above you is doing that thing where it flickers every 4 minutes. Let's talk about the debt. $294,000 when you started residency. 3 years of residency means 3 years of income-based repayment, which at your salary means your minimum payment barely covers the interest. The principal barely moves. By the time you finish residency, the balance will be close to $305,000. Some people do income-driven repayment for 20 years and wait for forgiveness. Some people refinance on day 1 of attending life and pay it down in 7 years. Some people do public service loan forgiveness and work in an underserved area for 10 years and get the remainder erased. None of these are easy. All of them involve a decade of decisions shaped by a number that was handed to you before you were old enough to fully understand what you were agreeing to. You signed the promissory note at 22. You will be paying for that signature until you are in your late 30s at the earliest. There is a thing that happens around year 2. You stop being terrified and start being just tired. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. You know the hospital, you know the rhythms, you know which nurses will save you and which attendings will hang you out to dry in front of the team. You know where the good coffee machine is and that it's always empty by 7 in the morning. You are competent now, which means the fear has been replaced by something harder to name, a low-grade weight that doesn't leave. The weight of knowing what you know and carrying it home and setting it down, badly, in an apartment you can barely afford. There is a doctor on your team named Dr. Okafor. He did internal medicine, then a cardiology fellowship, then an interventional fellowship. He was a resident for 6 years. He drives the white BMW. He has 3 kids and a house in the suburbs. He works 55 hours a week now, and he is very good at his job, and his life looks, from the outside, exactly like what the brochure promised. You ask him once, in the hallway after rounds, if it was worth it. He doesn't answer right away. Or then he says, "Ask me again when you get there." Here is a number that will either comfort you or infuriate you, depending on the day. At $63,400 a year in the United States, you are in the top 27% of earners. Globally, and this is real, you are in the top 0.7% of the entire world's income distribution. There are 8 billion people on this planet. You, exhausted, cafeteria food eating, lone drowning, pager carrying you, make more money than 99.3% of them. The context doesn't pay your rent. It doesn't close the gap between what you expected and what this is. But it's true. Second year, a different kind of day. A mother brings in her son. He's 9. He's been sick for 3 weeks with something that 3 different urgent care clinics missed. You look at him for 4 minutes. You know what it is. You order the right test. It comes back exactly as you expected. You walk back in and you tell them. The mother starts to cry. Not sad crying, the other kind. You explain what happens next. You explain it the way it should be explained, without jargon, without rushing, without looking at the door. You sit on the edge of the chair. The kid watches you the whole time. When you leave, the attending finds you in the hallway. She says, "Good catch." 2 words. You carry them the rest of the shift. This is the thing about this life that nobody in the brochure and nobody at match day and nobody at graduation talks about directly. The debt is real, the hours are real, the salary during training is real. The gap between what you expected and what this actually is, that's real too. But so is the other thing. The 71-year-old at 3 in the morning, the 9-year-old who had been missed 3 times. The moment in the hallway when the attending says 2 words and you know you're becoming the person you came here to become. Not everyone gets that. Most jobs don't have that. You chose a life with almost no margin, almost no sleep, almost no financial breathing room for a decade, in exchange for a job that occasionally, without warning, reminds you exactly why you chose it. Whether that trade is worth it depends on what you came here for. If you came for the money, the BMW, the prestige, the math is terrible and the years are very long. If you came for the 3 in the morning explanation to the woman holding your hand, for the good catch in the hallway, for the thing that makes 1 in the morning charting under a flickering light mean something, the math is still terrible. But you're not doing the math. You're doing rounds. It's 6 in the morning. Let's go.